Greetings everyone. Welcome to this session of Polity MCQs, where we discuss 10 high quality MCQs from the static portion of Polity and Constitution. And considering prelims 2026, we are going to continue this series and we will discuss 10 MCQs on daily basis. As you would be knowing that the upcoming prelims of 2026 is going to be held on 24th May 2026, right? And today is 25th October. So exactly you have 7 months, right? And if you practice 10 MCQs from the static portion of polity till prelims 2026, you will be practicing 2100 MCQs, right? Approximately you can say, or more than 2000, right? So let's begin the session. And today we are going to start our new topic, that is features and criticism of the Constitution of India, right? So this is the today's topic, features and criticism of the Constitution of India, and this is part 1. Now let's see the first question. The first question says, consider the following features of Indian Constitution and their sources or inspirations, right? On the one side features are given, on the other side sources or inspirations are given. So first is transformative constitutionalism. Sources or inspiration, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's vision, obviously, right? It was the vision of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar that India should, or we should have transformative constitutionalism. Transformative constitutionalism means before independence we had discrimination, right, based on caste, class, gender, right? And Indian Constitution transformed it into an equal society. It brought equality. For example, Article 14 ensures equality, right? And other fundamental rights including DPSP try to ensure an equality and remove inequalities or discriminations, whether it is based on caste, gender or class. So this is correct. Second, multi-layered federalism, right? Simply you have understood the meaning of federalism. Federalism means generally two tier government. You can call it union or federal government and state or provincial government. But multi-layered federalism in India, we have three tier government at union level, state level and at local level, that is panchayats and municipalities. So this is called multi-layered federalism. 73rd and 74th amendments 1992. This is also correct. Third, fundamental duties, sources or inspiration, Soviet Constitution, obviously. By which amendment? 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976, right? Inspiration or sources, Soviet Constitution. Last, judicial review, we all know, sources, US Constitution. So you can see all these are correctly matched. So go for option D. All four are correct. Right? Here is the explanation. You can pause the video and you can read. Right? Or you can get the PDF and you can read. Now, second question. It says, consider the following statements about parliamentary system in the Indian Constitution. First, the president is nominal head, obviously, nominal head or de jure head, while the prime minister is the real executive head or the de facto head. Correct? Second, the council of ministers is collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. Straightforward statement. Correct? Next, parliamentary system was inspired by US Constitution. No, it was inspired from British Constitution, not US Constitution. Right? So this is incorrect. So only two statements are correct, 1 and 2. Go for option A. Only 1 and 2 are correct. Right? No need to waste your time in explanation. Here is the explanation. You can read. Third question. It is chronology based question. You have to arrange these events in proper chronological order. So it says, consider the following events related to constitutional developments. Right? So if you know the year or date, you can easily solve. Adoption of constitution, right, of the Constitution of India. So it was on 26th November 1949. Correct? Second, introduction of fundamental duties. Obviously, as I said, we all know by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act in 1976, right? Third, Keshavanand Bharati case, 1973, right? Exact date was 24th April 1973. Minerva Mills case, which year? 1908, right? Now you can easily arrange. So first comes number 1, then after 1949 it will come 1973, means Keshavanand Bharati case, then it will be 3, then after 1973 1976, that is introduction of fundamental duties, comes statement number 2, and lastly Minerva Mills case 1984. So the correct order is 1 3 2 4. See the sequence. B is the correct answer. 1 3 2 4 is the correct sequence. It matches with the option B. So go for option B, right? Here is the explanation. You can pause the video and you can read. I have already explained. Next, fourth question. This is a statement based question and you have to answer this question. So it says, consider the following statements about the criticism of Indian Constitution. Yes, you must be knowing. On the one hand, it has distinctive features, right? It is also criticized, right? Why? So let's see. First statement says, the Indian Constitution is criticized for being excessively lengthy and complex. Yes, it is one of the criticism of Indian Constitution that it is very lengthy, complex, right? Second, its length is attributed to the inclusion of administrative details and provisions for diverse socio-economic conditions. Yes, this is also correct. Means each and every type, mostly the diverse socio-economic conditions has been included, whether it is fundamental rights or directive principle of state policies. Each and every type of provision is given in the Indian Constitution, and that makes the Indian Constitution very bulky, very lengthy, right? So both statements are correct, and this correctly explains statement 1, right? So go for option A. Both statements 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation of statement 1, right? Option A is the right answer. Here is the explanation. You can pause the video and you can read. Now, next question. Question number 5. Again, statement and reason based question, right? So it says, consider the following statements about the transformative nature of the Indian Constitution. Transformative nature, right? Means after making of Indian Constitution or introduction of Indian Constitution, the Indian society has been transformed. Transformed means, as I said, that it was divided or classified on the basis of caste, class, religion, right, gender, but it has transformed, right? Whether from socio-religious perspective or socio-cultural perspective or economic perspective, right? So statement 1 says, the Indian Constitution is designed as a social revolution. Yes, social revolution charter to address inequalities of caste, gender, and class. Yes, Article 14, right? Other fundamental rights, right? For example, Article 17, right? Again, directive principle of state policies, they remove for different kind of inequalities based on caste, gender, class, right? Second, the Keshavanand Bharati case 1973 described the constitution as a living document. Obviously, Indian constitution is considered as a living document, right? Because living or organic document, because over the period of time it has evolved, it has changed its or included certain provisions which was not included initially, capable of socio-economic transformation. Yes, when we talk about removing inequalities, whether it is based on caste, class, gender, or economic status, it has transformed, right, the socio-economic condition of India, right? So this is also correct, right? So you can clearly see both are correct. Now it says, Option A, both statement 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation of statement 1. Actually, no. Though both statements are correct, but it is not the correct explanation of statement 1. Why? Because in Keswanand Bharati case, the Supreme Court held the Indian Constitution as a living document, right? But it does not mean that this statement explain the nature of social revolution or the transformative constitutionalism, right? So go for option B. Both statement 1 and 2 are correct, but statement 2 is not the correct explanation of statement 1, right? Now we will see our next question, that is sixth question, right? So it says, consider the following statements about the federal structure of the Indian Constitution. Statement 1, it says, the Indian Constitution establishes a federal system with strong unitary bias. Obviously, right? Though we have federal system of government, right? Both the union government and state governments derive their power from constitution, but there is, or the union government has more powers as comparison to state governments. For example, emergency related powers, making international policies, right? Printing monetary notes, right? Currency notes, right? So all these powers lies in the hands of union government, not in the hands of state government, right? So there means power is tilted towards the union government as comparison to state government. So this statement is correct. Second, the division of powers between union and state is outlined in the seventh schedule of the constitution. Obviously, seventh schedule mentions three lists: union list, state list, concurrent list, right? How many items are there in these three lists? You can comment in the comment box, right? Now, so both statements are correct. Now see whether this statement explains statement 1 or not. See, so first option says both statement 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation of statement 1. No. Why no? Because see, seventh schedule outlines the powers between union and state, but it does not explains the reason. Right? It does not explain. It only outlines the items, not the reason why these powers or why these subjects are included in the state list or union list or concurrent list. It is not, the reason is not mentioned in the seventh schedule. Only items are mentioned, subjects are mentioned, right? So that's why option B will be the right answer. Both statement 1 and 2 are correct, but statement 2 is not the correct explanation of statement 1, because seventh schedule does not give the reason, right, why there is unitary bias, right? So B is the right answer. Here is the explanation, you can read. Now, seventh question. Again, an important question. See, it's a, consider the following statements about synthesis of civilizational ethos and modern principle in the Indian Constitution. Civilizational ethos means, right, the cultural civilizational ethos of India, as well as we have adopted certain provisions of West or certain concepts of from Western countries, right? So first is the preamble's ideal of justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity reflects both Indian philosophical tradition and Western democratic principles. Obviously, correct. For example, justice in Indian tradition, right, or you can say in Indian civilizational ethos, right, there is a concept of dharma, nyaya, right, justice, right, liberty, equality, fraternity, Western concept, right. So it is combination of both Indian as well as Western concept. Second, Gandhian principles like ahimsa, sarvodaya are embedded in the directive principle of state policy. Obviously, you must be knowing that directive principle of state policies can be categorized into three categories, right? Socialist, liberal, Gandhian, right? So Gandhian principles are included. For example, what? Do not consuming, right? Intoxicants, drugs, alcohols. Gandhian principle, right? Promotion of cottage industries, right? Establishment of panchayats based on Gandhian philosophy, right? Third, Constitution's secularism is solely derived from Western model of separation of state and religion. No, we have not copied, though we have secularism, but we have not copied the Western concept of secularism. Right? In Western concept of secularism, there is complete separation of religion and state. But Indian concept is equal respect for all religion, means Sarva Dharma Sambhav. We respect all religion, right? And Indian concept is, or Indian concept of secularism is positive concept. Western concept of secularism is negative concept. That is the main difference, right? So you can see statement 1 and 2 are correct. Go for option. No need to read explanation. I have already explained. Now, eighth question. Again, an important question, right? It says, with reference to multi-layered federalism. I have already told you the meaning of multi-layered federalism. We have three-tier government, union, state, and at local level, right? In the Indian Constitution, consider the following statements, right? So, first statement says, the 73rd and 74th amendments introduced constitutionally recognized third tier of governance. Yes, panchayats, municipalities, right? Second, GST councils exemplifies cooperative federalism. Yes, it is one of the example of cooperative federalism by involving both union and states in tax decisions. Yes, you must be knowing about GST council, right? The chief ministers or administrators of UTs are also members of GST council, right? Now, who chairs the GST council? You can comment in the comment box. Third, the finance commission has no role, right? Stop. Whenever you find word like no, only, all, be careful. So it says the finance commission has no role in multi-layered federalism as it deals only with center state fiscal relation. No, it plays an important role, right, in the devolution of financial resources, right? Even in the multi-layered federalism, means even at local level, panchayat level, right? So third statement is incorrect. Fourth, asymmetrical federalism accommodates special provisions for certain states under Article 370. So, what is asymmetrical federalism? Where states are not, means some states are given special provision, special status, right? Symmetrical federalism means where all states are considered equal, right? That is the difference between symmetrical and asymmetrical federalism. In India, we have asymmetrical federalism, means there are special status, special provisions for some states under Article 371. So this is correct, right? So you can see statement 1, 2 and 4 are correct. Go for option A. 1, 2 and 4 are correct, right? Here is the explanation. You can read. Now, ninth question. Consider the following statements about constitutional supremacy with parliamentary sovereignty elements, right? So we have constitutional supremacy with parliamentary sovereignty elements. And what is difference between parliamentary sovereignty and parliamentary supremacy? I have already made a separate video. You can watch that video, right? The link will be given in the description box, right? So there is, don't have confusion between parliamentary sovereignty and supremacy. I have already, again I am repeating, I have already made a separate video. You can watch that video. So first statement says the Indian Constitution is supreme with judicial review under Article 13, ensuring compliance with its provision. Obviously, in India we have constitutional supremacy, right? In Britain there is parliamentary supremacy, right? So second, Parliament's amending power under Article 368 is limited by basic structure doctrine. Obviously, right? In Keshavanand Bharati case, the Supreme Court innovated, propounded a new concept, new judicial concept, that is known as doctrine of basic structure, and means under though Article 368 gives the Parliament to amend the Constitution, but it restricts, means this doctrine of basic structure restricts the power of amendment of Parliament to amend the basic structure of Indian Constitution, right? as established in the Indira Nehru Gandhi versus Raj Narayan case 1975? No, as I said, it was propounded in Keshwanand Bharati case 1973, not Indira Nehru Gandhi case. So only statement 1 is correct. So go for option C. Statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is not correct. Here's the explanation. You can read. Now, 10th question. Last question of the day. With reference to social engineering document, again, see, these are distinctive features of Indian constitution. Transformative constitution, living document, social engineering document. These are distinctive feature of Indian constitution, right? Not used for any other constitution in the world, right? You can use these terms in while writing your answers. So, with reference to social engineering document, aspect of the Indian Constitution, consider the following statement. So, what is the meaning of social engineering document? Social engineering document simply means it has transformed Indian society, right? Which was classified, right, on the basis of religion, race, or caste, gender, right? So, it has transformed the Indian society. It has tried to bring equality, whether it is based on socio-economic status, right? So first is the constitution addresses caste inequalities through provisions like Article 17, obviously abolition of untouchability. Article 14 also ensures there shall be no means right to equality, no discrimination on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, right? Second, Indira Sahni case 1992 upheld reservation as a tool for social justice. Yes, straightforward statement, correct. Third, the constitution's social engineering is limited to political reforms and does not address economic inequalities. No, as I said, it has transformed, right, both the social as well as economic status of people, right, especially of downtrodden or vulnerable section, right. For example, Article 39, right, of Indian Constitution of DPSP, right, it prevents concentration of wealth and distribution of wealth, right. Mainly it prevents concentration of wealth to bring economic status, economic equality, right. So but this statement says constitution's social engineering is limited to political reforms and does not addresses economic inequalities. This statement is wrong. As I said, Article 39 contradictory of this statement. Article 46 promotes educational and economic interests of scheduled castes and tribes, correct, right. So you can clearly see, right, statement 1, 2 and 4 are correct. Go for option A, right. Here is the explanation. You can read. So that's all for now. We will meet in another discussion. Thank you for watching.